Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a countdown of my top 7 most essential PvP add-ons that I've been using in Legion. Whether you're just getting set up for your first time on the battlefield, or you're a skilled veteran who just watches these videos because you're avoiding something in your life, I got you covered. Number 7. Omnibar and OmniCC. Never leave home without them. Omnibar is a bar that you add to your UI that tracks your enemies' cooldowns. That serves two very important purposes. One, it shows you when they've used their kick and how long until it's up again. That's life or death as a healer, and the difference between an okay player and a good one for everyone else. The second thing is it tells you when an offensive or defensive cooldown has been popped, and how long until they can do it again. Cooldown awareness is the #1 thing separating the elite players from the masses, and Omnibar is your first source of info. Type /Omnibar to open up the options and make sure that it's in a place that you can see easily without blocking anything important. Then, make yourself a cup of tea and go through every spell it can track. I found that having Omnibar track too many spells gives me info overload and I end up processing none of it. Instead, as a healer, I set up my Omnibar to track kicks, stuns, and the biggest offensive cooldowns. That prepares me with the information I need to survive. As a DPS, you might focus more on the offensive and defensive cooldowns so you can time your own damage and walls. The more information you can process, the better, but at least for me, too much ruins the whole thing, so use discretion here and adjust what you're tracking as you go along. OmniCC requires 100% less setup, and the only reason I've lumped it in with Omnibar here is because of the name. The CC in OmniCC actually stands for cooldown count, which is just as important as crowd control. It puts a big number over your ability icon so that you can tell your healer exactly how many seconds they have to clench before your wall comes back up. Number 6. Platebuffs, KUI nameplates, or Tidyplates. This is not an all of the above situation. I recommend using one of the above 3 add-ons for the sole purpose of tracking buffs and debuffs above nameplates. The reason we have an add-on for this over the default UI is an add-on lets you set up which buffs you do and don't want to see, so again, you don't get info overloaded and short-circuit your battle brain. This is your second line of defense as far as cooldown awareness that deals specifically with what's up right now. Some offensive and defensive cooldowns aren't visibly obvious in the fireworks show that is a WoW fight, which is where something like Platebuffs comes in. I track big damage buffs like Avatar and Power Infusion above the nameplate so I know exactly how scary the dude running at me is. Similarly, you could see a big Ironbark icon to clue you in that maybe you should hit the other guy. All 3 of the above add-ons lets you customize which buffs you see over nameplates as well as the size of the icons, so play around with it and set it up in a way that feels good for you. Number 5. Gladiator Losa. This is often kind of laughed at as a beginner's crutch, but I'd rather have a crutch and some extra rating than be hobbling around with one leg by myself down in the rat leagues. Gladiator Losa is basically an audio version of Omnibar. When a spell is used, a nice lady reads it out loud for you. Like the add-ons we've looked at so far, the key to using Gladiator Losa effectively is to customize which things it tracks. Too many things, and you're just going to tune out the lady yammering at you about big heal. I personally set up Gladiator Losa to tell me only the scariest offensive cooldowns, but you can experiment and find out what works for you. I do wish they'd record some extra voice packs for this thing, but it is a free mod, so I guess I should chill. Number 4. Skada, Details, or Recount. Like the nameplate thing, this is a pick one. I don't care which meter add-on you use, just pick one and use it. I like Details the best, followed closely by Skada, and I haven't really touched Recount since it betrayed me back in 6.2. A good meter is a wealth of yummy information that you can use to improve your game. Keep an eye on how much damage you're taking and from what sources. Maybe you need to kite better or work on shutting down offensives. You can see how much of your damage is from which abilities and track how that varies with the different comps you play and fight against. PvP is an endless journey of working on yourself, and a good meter gives you the info that you need to reflect and improve. Number 3. Weak auras and Tell Me When. A lot of the add-ons that I've talked about are for tracking enemy cooldowns. With these two, you can track whatever. Using weak auras and or Tell Me When, you can see when your teammates' cooldowns will be up and what they've used. Get reminders to use spells that you tend to forget to press, or get an alert when a buff goes onto you or off of you. The possibilities are endless here. The catch with these add-ons is setting up those trackers from scratch is a skill of itself. If you're making your own, Tell Me When is the place to start. Weak auras are very powerful, but for most people it's easier to import weak aura strings from trusted sources rather than make new ones yourself. If you ever wished you could track a thing, you can. You just need to set it up and Tell Me When. Number 2. Gladius, the obvious one. If nothing else, install Gladius. Default enemy arena frames are just sad, and out of the box, Gladius gives you the information you need. You can right-click any frame to add it as your focus target, although you really should have keybinds for that. I I like to blow up the cast bars to be kinda tall so it's easier for me to see incoming polymorphs and cyclones. Set up your Gladius by typing /test Gladius3 to see test frames, and then type /Gladius to adjust all the settings until you're happy. At the top of the general settings, click lock frame once you're done, and you'll get rid of that click here to move bar that streamers never seem to turn off. Type out a /test Gladius3 again to disable the test frames and you're ready to go. Number 1. BigDebuffs. As a healer, this is my number 1 top PvP add-on. For everyone else, this is probably about a 3. BigDebuffs is the most useful out-of-the-box add-on to improve your friendly game awareness. Step 1 is making sure that you're using the raid-style party frames of the Blizzard UI, found in Interface Raid Profiles. While you're in there, make those nice and big, toss your preferred health text on there, and I like class colors as well. Then, BigDebuffs will throw a big debuff on the left side of the friendly frame for important things like Polymorph, Fear, Cyclone, and Hodge. Be the fastest dispels in the West by seeing the instant that a Polymorph lands. Even for DPS, this is still a lightning quick way to see that your healer's been cycloned or that guy that's supposed to be bursting with you has a kidney shot on him and he can't help. In the BigDebuff settings, you can change the bigness, set priorities, and enable or disable specific spells. This one's got pretty good out-of-the-box settings though, and I don't think I needed to really change anything with it to be happy. So those are my 7 most essential PvP add-ons in Legion. I hope this gave you an idea of something to try out to help you have a better time in PvP. Thanks for watching! Let me know what you think, please consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!